The next step is to start connecting these pieces of the frames together. So we need to connect these corners here and these corners, and you may decide you want to connect these up as well, although that is a little bit more optional. Now, to connect these up, what we're going to have to do is manually draw in the pieces that go in between. So we're going to go ahead and use our pen tool for this. Now, I would suggest that the first thing you do before you start drawing anything is lock everything in place. So Control A selects everything, and if we go to Object and Lock Selection, that stops us from accidentally editing any of this. What I would then do is change your pen tool or fill colour to something just totally different to what you've got, so a bright colour, just so you can see what you're working with a little bit easier. So we're going to begin from the back, so we're going to find sort of this line here, this bottom edge, and we're going to move it along until we get the centre line. So we're wanting it about there. So it's the bottom of this and the middle of this. So if you start by putting your pen on that point and moving along, you generally find that you'll get the guidelines popping up to help you. So from there we're going to click, and we're going to move up again, and we're going to go to the very top and click there. From here we're going to go over to this one. Again, we want that bottom line to come up, so we've got the middle, so we're going to connect it up like this, and then we're going to go back down to the bottom of this one, click, and then just connect that together. So that's giving you a rough shape in the perspective of your crossbeam. Now obviously we don't want a rounded edge like, sorry, a straight edge like this, we want it rounded. So that's the next step. So if we zoom in on this bit, there's no trick to this, there's no way of making sure that it's perfect, it is just a case of doing it by eye and seeing what looks best. If you take your pen tool and you hover over an existing line, an existing path, you'll get the little X icon next to it, and that will allow you to add in a new point. So about halfway down you need to click to add in a new point. We're then going to take our direct selection tool, select that point, and we're going to pull that out. Now if it does what I've just done there, it means that you've not actually drawn that onto it. So if it's not letting you do it, you can always change to the add anchor point tool, and that will let you pop it in on that line. So we take the direct selection tool and we're going to pull this out, and we're going to pull it down, not straight out, it wants to go down and a little bit further down here, so it kind of wants to match this perspective. This is going to be our curve. Once we've got that about right, we then go back to our pen tool and we find the convert anchor point tool, and we click on this and we start to drag, and that will give us a curve. Now there's no quick easy way to do this, it is literally just a case of just trying it out and just seeing what works and playing around with these handles until you get it looking right. Now if you notice there, once I'd clicked onto it once, if I click it again it will actually turn it back. So if you want to play around with the handles afterwards, just select it with your direct selection tool, and then you can just go ahead and adjust those and play around with that as you need to. So have a little bit of a play with those until you've got an angle that looks about right, and then all it's a case of doing then is using the same texture that you've got for this. So if you select it, you can use your eyedropper tool here and then just click onto it. What that will do is it will match the angle of the gradient, which we don't want. So then we take our gradient tool and we drag this line down to match the angle of which this is going. Now you'll find that you'll not get it perfect the first time, so then what you can do is you can go just over the edge until you get the little rotate icon, and then you can just rotate that little bit by little bit until you get it looking how you want it. Now it can be a little bit tricky, it is just a case of just practicing until you get it right. You can then take that piece and you can reflect it. So if you right click, transform, reflect, you want a vertical reflection, you want to copy it, and you want to move it over so it's over at this side and it's lined up same way on that side. Finally we unlock everything, so object, unlock all, take this front piece, right click, arrange, and we bring it back to the front, and then we'll end up with those pieces being connected like that. Now if you want to do the bottom pieces, do it in exactly the same way, but you would want it behind this table. So you'd want it behind the tabletop, but in front of this back piece. When you're happy with how all your frame's looking, once you've got that all on there, then you can feel free to select the whole lot, right click and group it, and again that'll just make it that little bit easier for you to work with.